Dear children, our today's topic is nutrition. Nutrition is a process adopted by any organism to meet its energy need. A kind of process adopted by an organism to meet its energy needs. The living organisms usually do not have any kind of energy reserves in their body so as to help them keep on moving or keep on doing their functions without any interruptions. We can take examples from our day-to-day life for this. For example, if we take the electric appliances we usually use, let it be our mobile, we need to charge it from time to time, otherwise it will not function, isn't it? So it needs that electricity or that charge which can help it to do its own functions. And similarly, if we take any kind of vehicle, we need to fill them with the fuel, right? Then only we can expect it to work or do what it is meant to do, right children? Similarly, the any organism, they can do their functions normally only when they have energy. So what is nutrition? Nutrition is a process adopted by an organism to meet its energy needs because they do not have any energy reserves. That is, they don't have energy or the sources of energy stored in their body in any forms. We have studied in the previous class that what is life process, isn't it? So all those vital basic functions done by any organism to keep itself alive is called as life process. So here again, the maintenance functions the living organisms do to keep the body functions intact so that it won't be affected or it won't break down in the middle. So it is called as what? The life process. So here, what kind of maintenance function our body does? Okay, what are the different kinds of maintenance? So we are very familiar with all these. Again, if we take these electric appliances or vehicle and all, we have to spend some money at least yearly once for its maintenance as a maintenance charge. I hope you are familiar with that term. Okay, similarly, our body also have to do some kind of maintenance function so that it can keep on moving. So what kind of maintenance function is our body doing? So it is called as a homeostasis. Homeostasis is maintaining the internal equilibrium of the body. So what kind of internal equilibrium? Internal equilibrium in the sense, see, maintaining the chemical and physical conditions in a appropriate level. So for example, if the glucose level in our blood should be only 80 to 120 decigram per liter, it should be only 80 to 120. It should not go above the level or below the level. So otherwise the condition, if this particular level goes above this normal range, is called as diabetes mellitus. Okay, we are familiar about this term diabetes. So what is this diabetes? That is a regular increase in the blood sugar level. So in the course of time it will cause damages to all the vital organs in our body. Similarly, even if this normal level of the blood is not maintained, and if it goes below the normal level, what will happen? Again, we call it as low sugar. So where our energy needs will not be met properly, because this glucose is the substrate which will be acted upon or broken by oxygen molecules, that is oxidation of glucose, and it will release the energy, right? So this energy is required to meet all the energy needs of each and every cell. So this function takes place in each and every cell, so that particular level should not go above that or less than that. So this kind of maintenance of the chemical and physical conditions we can take the pH range, temperature. So these are the physical conditions in our body which needs to be maintained. If there is an increase in the temperature, our brain will allow the blood vessels to dilate. So the blood vessels will dilate, and it will lead to the removal of additional heat, or the temperature up to which it has increased. So it will be, the temperature will be removed, additional heat along with required amount of water which our body removes in the form of sweat. So this kind of maintenance function should take place in our body continuously, so that all these homeostasis, that is the internal equilibrium, can be maintained in our body. It to inside the body from outside, because we don't have any supply of energy from inside, right? So the source of energy is called as the food. The source of energy is called as the food, and the process of taking the source of energy from outside to inside the body and undergoing the various digestion steps and extracting these nutrients from that particular source of energy, that is the food, is called as nutrition. Now we are going to see about the different kinds of food and what kind of role do they have in our body. See here. See, the food we eat can be majorly classified into two types as macronutrients and micronutrients. We are all familiar with the term macro, which means larger, isn't it? So here, what is meant by macronutrients? Those nutrients which are required in larger amount by our body is called as macronutrients. Here, so three major food occupies this list here. First one is the food which provides carbohydrates, because carbohydrate is a major source which can provide energy. So major source of energy to our body. And second major source is a fat. So fat is a second major source that provides energy. And next one is a protein. Protein is involved in the required by an organism for growth, for growing as well as repairing. If there is, what is meant by repairing? If there is any injury or disease conditions, the proteins, that is amino acids, they help to repair, that is to replace those damaged cells in our body. So carbohydrate, fat and protein are the three macronutrients which are used up by our body. And here these macronutrients, so when we take carbohydrate, at the end of the digestion of carbohydrate, it is broken down into its simpler form called as glucose. So this sugar molecule depends upon the source of the food. For example, if we are eating fruits, the fruits consist of fructose, and if we are drinking milk, the milk consists of lactose. So here this kind of sugar, it depends upon the type of food we eat. And so this glucose molecule we have seen in the last class, it will be taken up by our blood to different cells, not different cells, to each and every cell of our body, and where it is oxidized, and it leads to the release of energy along with some water, carbon dioxide, etc. So this is called as the metabolism of carbohydrates, and that is why we need this carbohydrate more in our body. The next macronutrient is fat. Fat is broken down into glycerol and fatty acid. I have given the chemical formula of these molecules, that is a fat, carbohydrate and protein, in the later slides, so that you can just go through and have an idea. So here this fat is at the end of the digestion of fat. Here it is broken down into glycerol and fatty acid, and here actually villi is a unit of absorption in our small intestine, and again only protein and carbohydrates, that is amino acids and glucose, can be absorbed by the blood. This glycerol and fatty acids, they have a special mechanism inside the villi. See, this is our villus. If you see, it is surrounded by, in the last video itself I have shown you a GIF like video, so in which you can see this. See here, the center structure is called as lacteal, and the lacteal is surrounded by the blood vessels. This glycerol and fatty acid, they can be absorbed only through this lacteal. So the end product of carbohydrate and protein is absorbed through the blood vessel. Okay, so end product of protein is amino acid, and that of carbohydrate is glucose. So it is absorbed through the blood vessels which are surrounding the lacteal, and the only lacteal can absorb the glycerol and fatty acid, and here these amino acid and glucose, they are taken up by the blood. But when it comes to this fatty acid and glycerol, they get mixed with they are taken to the lymph. Okay, so that is how they are carried to the place where they get stored or used up. So this is a difference between how the amino acids and glucose and this glycerol and fatty acids get absorbed into our body. The next macronutrient is protein. So the end product of digestion of this protein is the amino acids, and this amino acids, it will be classified into two as essential and non-essential. Essential amino acids are those which cannot be produced by our body, and non-essential amino acids are produced by our body. So these non-essential amino acids, they can be produced by our body, so we need not to take them through our food. But when it comes to the essential amino acids, we have to take them in our food because it cannot be produced by our body. Here this amino acids, as I told you, it is carried up by the blood, and it is supplied to all the cells where it will be rebuilt into protein again. So majorly three forms of protein are seen in our body. So the first one is muscles, different kinds of muscles in our body. Then enzymes are the chemical substances which helps in the digestion. And next one is the hormones. We know they are involved in different kinds of physiological function. For example, we need hormone for our growth. And when we take fat combines with protein. Okay, we call the complex molecule as lipoprotein. Lipo means fat, and again this lipoprotein. So this constitutes the cell membrane. The membrane which is covering the cell is called as a cell membrane. So lipoproteins are the major constituent of the cell membrane. Just think about that. See, so each and every cell consists of this fat and protein. So in a man trillions of cells are found, and so this is used by this. So these cells use these fat and protein to construct their membrane. Next one is a micronutrient. We are familiar with the term micro, which means small. So what do you mean by this micronutrients? Those nutrients which are required in lesser amount is called as micronutrients. Are those nutrients which are required in lower or lesser or micro levels. Okay, so they are comparing to the, I will show you the example now. Comparing to these macronutrients, these micronutrients are required in very less amount. This is the gist of the functions of these macronutrients and micronutrients. So the macronutrients, they provide energy and they are involved in growth and repair. Repair means replacing the diseased or wounded cells or dead cells. And when we come to the functions of micronutrients, they are majorly involved in protective. Protective means providing immunity. So we need, recently we came across this corona, and the government instructed people to take more vitamin C and vitamin D. See here, only in the presence of vitamin C our body can absorb iron. Similarly, only in the presence of vitamin D, calcium can be absorbed by our body. So the vitamins and minerals, they are interlinked in this way. So only in the presence of certain minerals or vitamins, the minerals can be absorbed and their level can be maintained in our body, and so on. And similarly, zinc, selenium and all, they help in increasing our immunity. So that is a protective role done by the micronutrients. And regulations, the normal physiological regulations in our body, it is also done by the micronutrients. This chart shows the functions done by the macronutrients and micronutrients in various functions that takes place in our body. You can go through this. Based upon the role done by these micronutrients and macronutrients, the elements are the primary constituents. So what are the elements? They make up the nutrients. So the constituents or those which are found in the each nutrients. Okay, so the elements or the primary constituent, they present in the nutrients, can be classified upon their contribution. Okay, so here it is classified as major elements and trace elements. Major elements, they, like macronutrients, these major elements, they are found in larger amount in our body. And similarly, these micronutrients, they are found in lesser amount. So let's see the examples now. This image is like a chart. See here, it shows the graphical representation. See here, it shows how much element contributes in how much percentage. So the oxygen is the largest element, or the which contributes more and which is found in higher amount. See here, see, and we know that our body is made up of 70 to 75% of water, right? So here this water is made up of this oxygen molecule, and similarly we can see in the later slides. See here, these are the different types of glucose or sugar molecules which are present in our body. Hexoses means which contains 6 carbon atoms. So this glucose is C6H12O6. That's the formula of glucose. See here, see each of this corner, it represents the presence of oxygen. So 6 carbon is present here, and glucose is found in most of our food. And fructose is present in the fruits we eat, and similarly galactose, it is present in milk. And so these are the examples of the sugar, different kinds of sugar molecules present in our body. And next one is this ribose and deoxyribose. See here, this pentose is made up of 5 carbon molecule, and this deoxyribose, are you familiar with this term? It is found in the DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. And similarly this ribose is found in RNA, ribonucleic acid. So these are the vital role which are played by these carbohydrate molecule, and especially I want you to know that it is made up of, the carbohydrate molecule is made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. See, so glucose is found in, okay, see here, so just carbohydrate is made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen elements. You can go through this chart given here. Next is the protein molecule. Here this protein molecule is made up of monomers called as amino acids. This is the structure of an amino acid molecule, and here this amino acid, it is made up of nitrogen, carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. So these are the elements which are found in amino acids. See, this diagram shows how many, that is many amino acids, they join together and they form the protein molecule. Next is the structure of lipid. Lipid is made up of glycerol and fatty acid. See here, this is a molecule structure of glycerol, and the next one is a fatty acid. So they combine together and they form the lipid molecule, that is a triglyceride. So most of the lipids are found in our body in the form of triglycerides. See, so now see here, these are the different elements which are present in our body. See, already we saw that oxygen is present in higher amount, that is a 65%, and next largest amount of element is the carbon, that is 18%, and next one is hydrogen, and followed by the nitrogen, that is 3%. And when you come to this micro elements, see, or trace elements, see here calcium, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, sodium. So these elements, they are very important in the formation of bone and teeth, as well as chlorine, magnesium and all. They also help in the transfer of signals from through the nervous system, and so all these types of functions are done by these micro elements. And rest of the trace elements we come across are the boron, chromium, cobalt, copper, fluorine, iodine, iron, manganese, molybdenum, selenium, silicon, tin, vanadium and zinc. So where are they present in our body? Where can we come across these elements in our body? I have just shown where the macro elements are present. See, so this one shows the cell wall. See here, so this is a plant cell, and here The plants in plant cell, the outermost covering is a cell wall, isn't it? So the cell wall, it is made up of cellulose. So it is a complex form of carbohydrate. And next one is a cell membrane. Cell membrane, it is found in all types of cells. So they are the closest covering of all cells, and it is made up of lipoprotein. And I told you what is lipoprotein. Lipo refers to lipids and protein. And see, so this lipoprotein is a complex form of protein and carbohydrate molecules. The next one is microtubules. These microtubules, they help in the cell division, as well as they are found as the cytoplasmic skeletal like structures, so which help in the transport inside the cytoplasm, and it is purely made up of protein. And next one is the mitochondria. Mitochondria, we know that it is a energy house, a powerhouse of the cell. They produce the ATP molecules, and it is made up of DNA and fat. And next one is ribosomes. Ribosomes are the protein manufacturing unit inside our cell, and it is made up of protein and RNA. And next one is DNA or genetic material, isn't it? Chromatin reticulum. So this DNA, it is made up of nucleic acid, and it acts as a genetic material which directs different kinds of functions inside a cell. And we know that DNA controls all the functions in the body of an organism. So we came across those elements which makes up the biomolecules which are found inside our body, and the first major element is oxygen, and next one is the carbon. And all kinds of food we eat is also carbon. So since the life on earth depends on carbon based molecules, most of the food sources must be carbon based, right? So all the living organisms, they are made up of this carbon molecules, otherwise we call them as organic. So depending on the complexity of these carbon sources, complexity means for example, glucose is a simple molecule, isn't it? And we saw that lipoprotein, which is made up of both protein and lipids. So and another example I can give you, that is the cellulose. Cellulose is the it makes up the cell wall in all the plants. So when we eat any kind of vegetarian food, we come across this cellulose. So we need to cook them so that it will help our body to digest it properly and derive the nutrients from the cellulose or the vegetarian food we eat. So depending on the complexity of these carbon sources, each and every organism adapt its own kind of nutritional processes. Thank you, children.